to do. I'd like to try a little country guitar playing on a little tune called the Cannonball Rag, so stay with me, will you please? Here's the way she goes.
Everybody, back at it again. Anderson Afield by itself. From now on, here we go. I'm gonna be trying to do this as much as I can. We've had a really hard time putting this together, but we're done. We're in and we're ready. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about a couple things today. We got a portion of River Road paralleling the Salt River in Anderson County, here in the county, is now open to any anglers wishing to fish the headwaters of Taylorsville Lake for the spring white bass run. But there's some things that you had to weave in and out of to get to that, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then we're going to be talking to Mr. Gabe Jenkins, the one and only deer and elk program coordinator in the state of Kentucky for the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, of course. Then we're going to get into the archery tournaments. I got 3D and regular. So, and I was looking through some of this and seeing a couple things about Anderson County in here. So I'm excited to see because I really haven't heard anything. And then we're going to talk about the deer and elk viruses and issues, things such as that. So hope you like it. Let's get into it. The gated accesses at Palmer Road and Old River Road off of 44 at the Taylorsville Lake WMA will remain open from daylight until dark into summer, except for closures during the youth only and general spring turkey seasons. The youth season's already happened. We're in the middle of turkey season right now. So, May 5th, gates will be back open again. Or May 6th, I'm sorry, until early August. Old River Road allows anglers to easily bank access along the north side of the Salt River. The area includes gravel parking lots and several small pull-offs spread along the roadway. Parking is permitted only in the gravel parking spots or designated pull-offs. So just because you got a big Tonka truck don't mean you get to park on the middle of the road because everybody else is already down there fishing. Going through fields or parking in other areas is subject to citation. You can get your maps of the WMA or other WMAs if you're not going to be around here and you want to go fishing somewhere else, especially in the summer, at Kentucky Fish and Wildlife's website, which is fw.ky.gov. All right. Now we're going to talk to Gabe Jenkins. Welcome back to Anderson Afield. I'm your host, Cole Jenkins. I'm here with Deer and Elk Coordinator Gabe Jenkins from Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. I got a couple questions for you, if that's okay.
All right, man.
All right, so first question, what's your responsibilities as the Deer and Elk Program Coordinator?
Right, so as coordinator, first and foremost, I'm a manager over a handful of our biologists. I have 3 full-time elk biologists and 3 full-time elk and 2 full-time deer biologists and a handful of technicians. Our main responsibility is oversight on the deer and elk herds. So we're setting the season frameworks, bag limit structures, the drawing, how we issue permits, things of that nature. So a lot of reports, technical guidance to our staff, but also in the field collecting data, working with hunters and a variety of things all across the state. So it's a challenge for us because we've got staff that are in headquarters, some all across the state, to try to have that kind of reach with just a small army of people.
So how long have you actually been working for the Department of Fish and Wildlife?
Gotcha. So I've been with Fish and Wildlife for 12 years. We good? Okay, and I've been with Fish and Wildlife for 12 years. I've been the deer and elk coordinator for a little over 4 years now. Got my degree from Eastern Kentucky University, both my bachelor's and my master's there. Was able to do a lot of stuff to kind of get in touch with the department at that point. So, yeah, Kentucky boy.
All right. like we went over, you're the program coordinator. Do you go on hunts for both, or do you just hunt one, or which one do you like the most if you hunt both?
Oh man, I love to hunt what's in season. Whatever's in season, I love to hunt. We can talk hunting all day, every day. But I think my favorite thing to do is archery hunt for elk. A bull elk screaming his head off with your bow is just, it's hard to really put into question. So if you listeners out there, turkey hunt, it's kind of like big turkeys, but turkey's 20 pounds. You're looking at 900 pound animal with huge antlers. So it's a whole nother ball game. But give me that bow in September in the peak of the rut, and that's my choice for sure.
All right, so you're a biologist and you're a hunter. So how do those two things combine together? Do you see stuff the way you would out in the field as you would if you were studying, or do you split them up when you go hunting? Do you kind of forget all that?
Well, it's kind of, you can't forget it. And the way I look at it, it gives me a good perspective, especially when I think about when we're setting season dates and structures and permits and setting rules. Really, you don't want to go out and set rules that are hard for your hunters to understand, or affordability and practicality. So I think about things biologically, what's best for the resource, but then my second question is, how does this pertain to our constituents, our hunters, and trying to provide as much opportunity for them in as many ways as we possibly can, and thinking about my experiences and what works for me, what doesn't work for me. I mean, nearly all my friends hunt and fish, so it's a way for us to, that's my life. I do this professionally and do the pastime as well. So, I'm out there as much as anybody else, chasing critters that are in season for sure.
I'm sure you've got some insight on how the deer season went across the state. So how would you sum it up? Was it a good turnout or?
Right. So our deer season last year was great. It was our second highest deer harvest we've had on record. So a lot of deer hit the ground. One thing for you deer hunters last year, you probably noticed a lot of things changed. So if you're a licensed buyer, you saw you had more opportunity with your licenses and your permits. For some of our viewers in some of the southeast Kentucky, they had a longer gun season. So we tried to expand a lot. We've got a very big growing deer population, and we got to kind of bring that back a little. So that's what we were trying to do. But overall, season was great last year. For most people. No, for me, I struggled last year. But
I finally killed a buck. It took me 10 years.
Well, I did not shoot one. I struggled in November this year. I was glad to see the season come to an end, personally.
Well, I didn't really talk about this when I was on the phone with you earlier or anything, but how do the zones and things work out for the hunting regions? Because I've always been looking at the catalogs and everything, and I asked my dad Dad, what does this mean? He's like, I don't know. They change it up every now and then. Sometimes they stay the same. You just never know. So how do y'all figure all that out?
Well, I like to keep you honest. That way you're looking at the book because you're, what's changing. So no, but all seriousness, we have 4 zones, and it's really, you could really break it down into really 3 if you want. So zone 1 is our zones where we have overpopulation. So we're trying to reduce the zone. We're trying to reduce the population there. So if your zone 1 hunters here in Anderson County have an unlimited doe take, that's the point, was we want to bring that population down. Zones 2s and zones 3s, it's kind of where you want to be. You want that county to be right there. It's the sweet spot. We're taking the right amount of deer. Good opportunity, but not a lot of damage. That really good. Zone 4, on the other hand, is the complete opposite of zone 1. Zone 4, we want that population to grow. So restricted doe harvest, a little bit less opportunity. So trying to get them to respond to less hunting pressure. So that's kind of the school of thought in our zone structures.
It still confuses me,
and it's hard. And it's some of it's biological, some of it's just social, and how many people are in the county, what percent of those people hunt, what the deer habitat looks like. Here in Anderson County, we've got some of the highest deer densities in the state, as opposed to like a real high ag area like West Kentucky. West Kentucky simply can't handle that many deer, where we here in Anderson we can, because we don't have as much ag, and the farmers aren't up in arms. We can handle that higher deer numbers.
All right, so on a personal note, what do you enjoy about hunting the most?
I think it changes in your walk of life as you're in your age to as you get a little older. It goes from just being out there to wanting to harvest as many as you can, and kind of brag and show off my big deer, to experiences with your friends and family. I like the camaraderie of some aspects of hunting, like waterfowl hunting. I like the solitude of elk hunting, like by myself in the backcountry in the woods, just to kind of get away and unplug. But to me, it's providing food for my table, for my family is probably the number one.
Right.
It's all my family eats. We don't buy beef, so
That's what a lot of people don't understand is most of these hunters aren't out here. I mean, there's some people that go out there just to trophy hunt, but most of it, especially around here, is more let's put food on the table.
Absolutely, it's subsistence driven, and I have to shoot enough at a minimum to feed my family that year, and then above and beyond, you can't eat antlers, but I like to shoot a big antler buck. I mean, that's for sure. But I'm going to shoot some does quickly just so I make sure I get that off. I'm providing for my family. It cuts down on the pocketbook expense later in the year. So, I enjoy feeding other people, not just my family. I get non-hunters that come over, and I've got critters on the wall, things I've harvested, and they're a little taken back by it. But if I can sit down and prepare a meal of, hey, here's some waterfowl, here's some geese, here's some duck, and let them taste it, and I can talk about how these are free-range, healthy meat. We don't have to think about antibiotics and disease like we do in the cow pasture. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good beef steak, but fresh elk steak right off the grill, I'll take any day.
Alrighty, well, I'm not going to keep you long. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure, Cole. Yes, sir.
Archery. Now, I know we have a good archery program here, and I know that, being someone that used to do it themselves, I seen it start to grow a lot when I was doing it. So, speaking of that, it says right here, Kentucky's NASP tournament, which is National Archery in the Schools program, hosted March 15th and 16th at the Kentucky Exposition Center. It featured a record of 7,039 student archers and more than 450 schools, solidifying its distinction as the largest NASP tournament in the nation. Alrighty, let's get to this. Elementary, middle, and high school student archers competed in individual and team honors. The top 10 seniors in boys and girls divisions of the Kentucky NASP state tournament received $10,000 scholarships to apply to any post-secondary education. Alrighty, on the boys' side, it was Casey County's high school junior Justin Luttrell who earned the overall title with a score of 298. And there was also the IBO 3D challenge, and it says right here, came down to a tiebreaker between Anderson County High School sophomore Henry Thompson and Hopkins County Central High Schooler senior T. Sanchez. They tied for first place with a score of 297. Thompson won the tiebreaker for the boys. So, congratulations, Henry. And the next step for the archers who competed in the state tournament is May 9th through 11th at the Exposition Center. So if you want to go support Henry, since this is supposed to be a Bearcat thing, even though I have no direct affiliation with them anymore. If you want to go support him, go right ahead. I would if I could, but I don't know what I'll be doing May 9th through 11th, so I can't. Alright. Now we're going to be talking about some deer vaccine blah, blah, blah. Deer parasites and viruses. Parasites and viruses. That's it. Okay. So, The latest results of chronic wasting disease testing of Kentucky deer and elk returned encouraging news. None of the tests came back positive for the fatal brain disease that affects the members of the deer family. So none of our deers died from that stupid crap. Our Fish and Wildlife Resources monitoring of the state's deer and elk herd for CWD will be among the topics covered at the 4 public CWD forums planned across the state in coming weeks. So if you want to, or your mama and daddy wants to, or if you're an adult and you watch this and you want to go to it, you just get on our website and you should be able to look it up. Well, there's one right here. April 18th, 6 to 8 on Camp John Curry. 295 Camp Curry Road. The camp is on the shore of Kentucky Lake. CDW is caused by abnormal proteins called prions, and it affects white-tailed deer, elk, moose, mule deer, and caribou. But we don't have moose, mule deer, or caribou around central Kentucky, at least. There is no known cure or vaccine, and it is always fatal in infected cervids. The disease has spread to more than half the states in the country since it was first recorded in Colorado in the 1960s. Colorado, 1960. CDW has not been detected in Kentucky, but 6 of the 7 states bordering the Commonwealth are CWD positive. I don't know why I said CDW. Indiana is the one state that's not surrounding Kentucky that is not infected. And the only one. Tennessee confirmed its first cases of CWD in late 2018. And our Fish and Wildlife is trying their hardest to make sure that doesn't happen. But yeah. So it says right here the regional forums are a doubling down of the departments to educate the public about CWD. Kentucky Fish and Wildlife plans to roll out other outreach efforts this year, including printed materials, videos, and presentations, and more. So they're really not wanting this to get in here, and I'm really not wanting to either, because even though I'm going to be gone out of central Kentucky next year, I still want to be able to come up here and come home for a little bit and come hunting. And if there's, I'm going to go to some WMAs down there in Bowling Green, where I'm going to be at college next year, and I'm going to want to hunt down there too. But yeah, that's it for me. Always remember, hunting on private property and public property is always a privilege. Hope to see you out in the field or on the water. God bless. I'm out.
Got a house down a back road, I got a flag on the front porch, I got a dog named Waylon, I got a driveway that needs paving, I got a